When most think of celestial beings, they conjure images of angelic figures with large feathered wings, glowing halos, and perhaps a harp or trumpet in hand. These depictions, deeply embedded in cultural and religious traditions, present angels as approachable humanoid beings, elevated yet familiar, often adorned with radiant halos and angelic instruments. This popular imagery owes much to Renaissance art, literature, and more recently, popular culture. Art and literature have played a critical role in shaping how humanity perceives these beings. From the detailed paintings of Raphael to the verses of John Milton's Paradise Lost, angels have been humanized in ways that make them both accessible and supernatural. This anthropomorphism, assigning human characteristics to divine beings, reflects mankind's desire to bridge the gap between the mortal and the eternal. In recent times, movies, TV shows, and even festive holiday imagery have reinforced these depictions, particularly in the Western world. However, these portrayals often reduce the profound spiritual nature of these beings to decorative figures or fantasy characters. In reality, angels and other celestial beings are far more powerful than these softened depictions suggest. They aren't gentle cherubs serenading with harps, they are mighty spiritual entities. The fact that these beings can stand in God's presence speaks volumes about their extraordinary power. Mortal humans, with all our flaws and limitations, cannot stand before the Lord and live, as Scripture makes clear, "No one may see me and live," Exodus 33:20. Yet angels dwell in His presence, revealing a strength and holiness beyond human comprehension. Consider the angel Gabriel's words in Luke chapter 1, verse 19.
I am Gabriel. I stand in the presence of God, and I have been sent to speak to you and to bring you this good news.
Gabriel, who stands before the Lord, reflects the divine power granted to angels. If we were to behold the Lord's full glory, our spirits would leave our bodies in an instant. But angels behold His face without harm. These celestial beings are not to be taken lightly. The Bible recounts remarkable feats performed by angels. One angel alone struck down 185,000 Assyrian soldiers in a single night. Angels shut the mouths of lions to protect Daniel, rolled away the stone from Jesus' tomb, guided Philip to meet the Ethiopian eunuch, and rescued Peter from Herod's prison. These accounts illustrate the roles angels play as messengers, protectors, and guides to humanity. However, not all celestial beings fit the conventional image of angels. Cherubim, for instance, stand apart in both appearance and purpose. They are neither ordinary angels nor archangels, but belong to a unique class of celestial beings. The Bible offers vivid descriptions of cherubim that challenge the typical understanding of angels. One of the most striking accounts of cherubim appears in Ezekiel's vision. In Ezekiel chapter 1, verse 5 to 11, the prophet describes, "From within the storm came 4 living creatures, each with the likeness of a human, but with 4 faces and 4 wings. Their legs were straight, and the soles of their feet were like those of a calf, gleaming like burnished bronze. Under their wings on each side were human hands. Their faces and wings were arranged in such a way that their wings touched one another." These mysterious beings did not veer when they moved, each one advancing directly forward. Their faces presented a mesmerizing sight. At the front, each had a human face. On the right side, each bore the face of a lion, on the left, an ox, and at the rear, the face of an eagle. Ezekiel, October 20th, 22, identifies these living creatures as cherubim. "These are the living creatures I had seen beneath the God of Israel by the river, and I knew they were cherubim. Each had 4 faces and 4 wings, with human hands visible beneath their wings. Their faces were identical to those I had seen by the Kebar River, and each moved straight ahead." These passages reveal that cherubim differ radically from the traditional depiction of angels. Rather than delicate beings with halos and wings, they are awe-inspiring creatures equipped with multiple faces and wings, a vision that expands our understanding of the complexity and power within the heavenly realm. The cherubim's portrayal in Ezekiel's vision is both compelling and perplexing, with faces representing a man, a lion, an ox, and an eagle. One of the most thought-provoking aspects of these beings is their connection to earthly creatures. The book of Job offers insight into their origins. In Job June 7:38, it is written that the sons of God, interpreted as angels, rejoiced at the creation of the world. This suggests that celestial beings, including cherubim, were formed before the earth and all life upon it. Therefore, the cherubim existed before the creatures they resemble, a concept that leaves scholars and believers alike in awe. Reflecting on this, I've found it impossible to see lions, oxen, or eagles the same way again. It's astonishing to consider that these divine beings bear the likeness of animals that did not even exist at the time of their creation. This mystery highlights the unique nature of the cherubim, revealing their deep connection to both the earthly and the divine. Now, picture the breathtaking sight described in Ezekiel's account. You stand before this celestial being, a form both human and supernatural, with four distinct faces gazing upon you: the human, the lion, the ox, and the eagle, united in one awe-inspiring entity. It is human-like in structure but celestial in essence, with four wings that seem to glide effortlessly through the heavens. Its straight legs, capped with feet resembling polished bronze, radiate majesty, while human hands peek from beneath its wings, embodying the fusion of the earthly and the divine. Experiencing such a presence would undoubtedly evoke fear, wonder, and reverence all at once. The realization that this being stands as a guardian of God's presence humbles the soul. These creatures are not ordinary angels, but serve a higher purpose, protecting and worshipping in the presence of the Almighty Himself. While cherubim are often associated with angels, they belong to a distinct order within the celestial hierarchy. It is essential to understand that not all angels are cherubim, as the Bible uses the term angel broadly to describe a range of spiritual beings fulfilling various divine roles. Cherubim, however, are tasked with safeguarding the presence of God and participating in celestial worship. They are closely linked to the throne of God, setting them apart from other angelic beings. Angels in general act as messengers and servants of God, carrying out tasks according to His will. Some, like Michael and Gabriel, play pivotal roles in key biblical narratives. While cherubim may be categorized as a type of angel, not all angels possess the characteristics of cherubim. Each angelic being has its own role and rank, contributing to the vast and complex spiritual realm. The Bible introduces other celestial beings that further expand our understanding of the heavenly realm. Among them are the Seraphim, fiery creatures ablaze with holiness, eternally stationed before God. Archangels like Michael deliver critical messages and engage in spiritual warfare on behalf of God's people. In the book of Revelation, we encounter majestic visions of horses in the sky, including a white horse ridden by a triumphant figure, symbolizing victory and divine justice. These glimpses into the celestial realm challenge our conventional ideas about the spiritual world. Cherubim, seraphim, and archangels offer just a hint of the majesty, power, and complexity of God's creation, reminding us that the divine realm is far beyond human comprehension. Imagine standing in awe at the sight of such incredible beings. These celestial creatures are not only powerful, but possess a beauty that transcends human understanding. As we explore the spiritual realm, we quickly realize that the Bible reveals only a glimpse of what exists beyond our world. Have you ever wondered about other heavenly beings that the Bible does not describe in detail? What wonders might await us in the presence of God? Isaiah 6:17 offers a powerful vision of divine majesty and holiness, where seraphim continuously worship, declaring God's holiness, filling the earth with the glory of the Almighty. Isaiah's encounter with a seraph, who purifies his lips with a burning coal, unveils the transformative power of divine mercy. This encounter shows how experiencing the sacred brings profound change, reminding us of God's willingness to cleanse and renew. The very name seraphim means burning ones, signifying not only their radiant appearance but also their intense passion for worship. Their unrelenting zeal reflects the proper response to God's unmatched holiness and greatness. From the vast expanse of galaxies to the intricacies of the human soul, all creation radiates the brilliance of its Creator. Every angel, every heavenly being, and every corner of the universe sings with joy to the one who brought them into existence. God, in his infinite majesty, not only created the universe but also infused it with purpose and wonder. Such a magnificent creator deserves nothing less than our reverence and unending praise. In heaven, celestial beings, seraphim among them, join together in worship, embodying the perfect response to the glory of God. The seraphim are not passive onlookers. They are deeply engaged participants in an eternal symphony of worship. Their fiery essence represents their profound devotion. It's as though they were formed from the very flames of worship itself, pure, passionate, and unyielding. If these beings, standing so close to the throne of God, are consumed with the desire to worship Him, how much more should we, the recipients of His grace, feel compelled to exalt Him? Isaiah's vision offers striking insights into the form and purpose of these heavenly beings. The seraphim have 6 wings, 2 covering their faces in reverence, 2 shielding their feet in humility, and 2 used for flight. Covering their faces reflects a deep respect for God's glory, even among the holiest of beings. The act of covering their feet, traditionally considered the dirtiest part of the body, symbolizes their humility and desire to present nothing impure before the Lord. The wings for flight represent more than mere movement. They symbolize their constant readiness to act upon God's commands. Their perpetual motion around the throne demonstrates their unceasing service, always prepared to respond to the will of the Almighty. But beyond their physical appearance, it is their song that captures the essence of their role. Holy, holy, holy is the Lord Almighty. The whole earth is full of His glory. This proclamation is not a simple chant. It is a profound declaration of truth. In Hebrew tradition, repetition emphasizes importance, and by declaring holy 3 times, the seraphim underscore the absolute and unparalleled holiness of God. The very foundation of the temple trembles at their words, a powerful reminder that true worship can move both the physical and spiritual realms. The smoke that fills the temple further symbolizes God's overwhelming presence, just as it did when God revealed Himself at Mount Sinai, reminding us of His majesty and interaction with creation. The seraphim's continuous worship reveals their very essence, an existence devoted entirely to proclaiming the greatness of God. Through their example, we learn the heart of true worship, which goes beyond rituals and routines. It is a sincere and passionate response to the Creator of all things. As we contemplate the seraphim's devotion, we are challenged to examine our own response to God's holiness. Does our worship reflect the same intensity and reverence, recognizing the greatness of the one who deserves our praise? What can humanity learn from celestial beings about building a deeper relationship with the Creator? One profound lesson from the seraphim is the essence of true worship. Their worship isn't confined to isolated moments, places, or rituals. Observing these heavenly beings teaches us that worship must be more than an act. It is a state of the heart, a constant acknowledgement of God's sovereignty in every breath we take. Despite their closeness to God, the seraphim embody ultimate humility, challenging our human tendencies towards self-promotion. Their example reminds us that true greatness lies in recognizing our position before God and serving Him with a humble heart. They teach us that no matter how exalted a position we hold, we must bow in reverence before the divine majesty. Isaiah's encounter with a seraph who purified his lips with a burning coal exemplifies God's grace in preparing us for His work. Just as Isaiah was purified for his prophetic mission, God also sanctifies and equips us for the roles He has assigned. The seraphim thus serve as instruments of God's cleansing power, demonstrating that when God calls us, He also refines and equips us to fulfill our purposes. The fiery essence of the seraphim carries deep symbolism, reflecting the transformative nature of God's presence. Throughout Scripture, fire often represents purification, a process in which impurities are burned away. As believers, we undergo a similar sanctification, drawing closer to God and becoming more like Christ. The continuous proclamation of God's holiness by the seraphim offers another key lesson. Holiness, by its nature, stands apart from what is ordinary. To call something holy is to acknowledge its unique, exalted nature. When the seraphim cry out, "Holy, holy, holy," They emphasize a divine attribute that touches every aspect of God's being and actions. His holiness is transcendental. While God's love, mercy, and justice are often highlighted, none of these attributes can be fully grasped without first understanding His holiness. God's love is not fickle, it is a holy love. His justice is not arbitrary, it is rooted in holiness, ensuring that it is pure and righteous. Every facet of God's character and every act He performs flows from His holiness, forming the foundation upon which all other attributes rest. Because the Seraphim dwell in the immediate presence of God, they possess an unmatched understanding of His holiness. Their declaration reminds us that our relationship with God must begin with this understanding. God's holiness shapes how we approach Him, how we worship Him, and how we live in response to His presence. The Bible commands, "Be holy, because I am holy." 1 Peter 1:16. This call goes beyond moral purity. It is a call to align our lives with God's purposes, seeking to reflect His character and His image in the world. God's holiness illuminates the darkness within us, revealing areas that need transformation. It leads us toward repentance and calls us to become more like Christ. Internalizing God's holiness changes our view of sin. Sin becomes more than the breaking of a rule. It is an offense against the nature of a holy God. Recognizing God's holiness produces reverence and awe, transforming worship from routine into a profound response to the divine. Through the Seraphim, we learn that true worship is not about outward form, but about the heart's response to the one true God. Worship flows from a deep understanding of who God is, His essence, His majesty, and His holiness. It invites us to align our hearts and minds with heaven's rhythm, drawing closer to God and living in alignment with His will. As we grow in our relationship with God, may the cry of the Seraphim, "Holy, holy, holy," resonate within us, shaping our lives and drawing us nearer to His heart. Like the Seraphim, we are called to bear witness to God's love and grace. Just as these celestial beings proclaim His glory in the heavenly realms, we are tasked with sharing the good news of His salvation on earth. The unwavering focus of the Seraphim provides a model for our own lives. In a world filled with distractions, they remain singularly focused on worshiping and serving God. Their constancy inspires us to remain steadfast in our faith, unshaken by the trials and temptations of life. Ultimately, while the Seraphim occupy a unique place in the heavenly realm, their devotion offers us insight into how we should approach God. Their example calls us to live in a posture of worship, humility, and awe, aligning our lives with the eternal truth of God's holiness. As we draw closer to God, we undergo a process of sanctification, becoming more like Christ and reflecting His holiness to the world. May our lives echo the cry of the Seraphim and inspire those around us to seek the heart of God. We are given the sacred task of spreading the good news of God's love and salvation across the earth. The unwavering focus of the Seraphim serves as a powerful reminder that we must set our sights on eternal things, not the fleeting distractions of this world. These celestial beings exemplify single-minded devotion to God, unwavering and undistracted by worldly matters. Their steadfast faith inspires believers to remain strong and unshaken, even when faced with life's many trials and temptations. Although the Seraphim exist far removed from our daily experiences, they teach profound lessons through their role in the spiritual realm. Their ceaseless worship reminds us to pursue a deeper relationship with the Creator. They also demonstrate the importance of humility. Despite their majesty, these beings bow in submission before God's greatness. Through their example, we learn to live with humility and embrace our role as messengers of God's grace and love. Angels, another group of celestial beings, play a significant role in both the Bible and Christian faith. Understanding their roles helps us appreciate the divine order that operates behind the scenes, protecting, guiding, and influencing our lives. However, there is often confusion surrounding angels, especially when ancient Jewish texts, such as the Book of Enoch, are considered alongside the Bible. To clarify, let's explore both the angels named in these texts and those mentioned directly in the biblical canon. In the Book of Enoch, several angels are named, including Michael, Gabriel, Raphael, and Uriel. Michael is celebrated as a warrior angel, while Gabriel is known as a messenger of God. Raphael is often associated with healing, and Uriel is connected to wisdom and guidance. These angels provide insight into the varied roles celestial beings play, reflecting the multifaceted nature of God's interaction with humanity. The Bible itself mentions only a handful of angels by name: Michael, Gabriel, Lucifer, and Abaddon, also known as Apollyon. Michael and Gabriel are highlighted for their key roles in spiritual warfare and divine communication. Gabriel is introduced as a messenger of God, appearing in significant moments to deliver divine messages. Gabriel first appears in the book of Daniel. During the Jewish exile in Babylon, Daniel received a vision of a ram with 2 horns and a goat with a single horn. Struggling to understand its meaning, Daniel prayed for an explanation. In response, Gabriel appeared to him, providing an interpretation. The ram symbolized the kings of Media and Persia, while the goat represented the king of Greece, who would rise to conquer the Persian Empire. This encounter underscores Gabriel's role as a divine messenger, conveying vital revelations to God's people. Gabriel's interactions in the Bible extend beyond the Old Testament. In the New Testament, Gabriel plays a pivotal role in announcing the birth of Jesus Christ. He appears to Mary, informing her that she has been chosen to carry the Son of God. Gabriel's appearances remind us that God is deeply involved in our lives, guiding us through his messengers and revealing his plans, even when they challenge our understanding. Through Gabriel, we also see God's intimate knowledge of each individual. He addressed Daniel, Zechariah, and Mary by name, showing that God is personal and attentive. These encounters highlight God's closeness to his people and his desire to communicate with us directly. The archangel Michael, on the other hand, is depicted as a warrior angel. He plays a significant role in spiritual battles, confronting evil forces and defending God's people. The book of Revelation describes Michael leading a heavenly battle against Satan and his angels, ultimately casting them out of heaven. Revelation chapter 12, verses 7-9 recounts, "Then war broke out in heaven. Michael and his angels fought against the dragon, and the dragon and his angels fought back. But the dragon was not strong enough, and they lost their place in heaven. The great dragon was hurled down, that ancient serpent called the devil or Satan, who leads the whole world astray. He was hurled to the earth, and his angels with him." Throughout the Bible, whenever Michael is mentioned, he is actively engaged in battle, confronting evil and defending the faithful. This pattern emphasizes Michael's role as a protector of God's people and a defender of divine truth. In the book of Daniel, both Michael and Gabriel are mentioned together. Daniel chapter 10, verses 7-13 describes a profound vision experienced by Daniel, in which he is overcome by fear. A hand touches him, helping him rise to his feet. The angel addressing him says, "Do not be afraid, Daniel. Since the first day that you set your mind to gain understanding and to humble yourself before your God, your words were heard, and I have come in response to them. But the prince of the Persian kingdom resisted me 21 days. Then Michael, one of the chief princes, came to help me because I was detained there with the king of Persia." This passage reveals a fascinating glimpse into the spiritual hierarchy. It suggests that angels have different ranks and responsibilities, with some wielding authority over nations. The mention of the Prince of Persia points to the existence of powerful spiritual beings influencing earthly events, aligning with New Testament references to spiritual forces and principalities. This encounter between spiritual beings gives us a glimpse into the unseen dimensions of spiritual warfare, where cosmic battles influence the events of the physical world. Michael, in particular, stands out not only as a warrior but as a guardian over the nation of Israel. His role goes beyond combat. He is charged with protecting Israel, especially during the end times when the Great Tribulation unfolds. His leadership among the angels showcases his significance in the heavenly hierarchy, where he commands celestial forces against evil powers. Yet, as mighty as Michael is, it's important to remember that he, too, is a created being. While he plays a pivotal role in God's divine plan, he is not meant to be worshipped. Like all angels, he exists to serve the will of God, fulfilling specific tasks assigned by the Almighty. This passage reveals a fascinating glimpse into the spiritual hierarchy. It suggests that angels have different ranks and responsibilities, with some wielding authority over nations. The mention of the Prince of Persia points to the existence of powerful spiritual beings influencing earthly events, aligning with New Testament references to spiritual forces and principalities. This encounter between spiritual beings gives us a glimpse into the unseen dimensions of spiritual warfare, where cosmic battles influence the events of the physical world. Michael, in particular, stands out not only as a warrior, but as a guardian over the nation of Israel. His role goes beyond combat. He is charged with protecting Israel, especially during the end times when the Great Tribulation unfolds. His leadership among the angels showcases his significance in the heavenly hierarchy, where he commands celestial forces against evil powers. Yet as mighty as Michael is, it's important to remember that he too is a created being. While he plays a pivotal role in God's divine plan, he is not meant to be worshipped. Like all angels, he exists to serve the will of God, fulfilling specific tasks assigned by the Almighty. His example reminds us that even powerful beings like Michael are subject to God's authority. The ongoing spiritual battles he leads offer us a deeper understanding of how the spiritual and physical realms intersect, influencing human history and daily life. Though angels like Michael demonstrate power and grandeur, they remain servants, devoted to God's purposes. This distinction is crucial. Angels serve as instruments of divine will and are never to be worshipped. Whenever humans in the Bible attempt to bow down to angels, they are promptly instructed not to do so. Angels consistently redirect worship toward God alone, emphasizing that they are merely messengers and protectors under God's command. Psalm 91:1-9 beautifully illustrates this divine protection. Whoever dwells in the shelter of the Most High will rest in the shadow of the Almighty. I will say of the Lord, He is my refuge and my fortress, my God in whom I trust. Surely He will save you from the fowler's snare and from the deadly pestilence. He will cover you with His feathers, and under His wings you will find refuge. His faithfulness will be your shield and rampart. These verses serve as a powerful reminder that God's care for His people is constant and unwavering, even when we are unaware of the dangers we face. The imagery of God's wings shielding us reflects His loving protection. Just as He commands His angels to guard us, so does His presence surround us through every challenge we encounter. There are times when we go about our lives without realizing how God shields us from unseen threats. We might narrowly avoid accidents, escape danger, or endure trials without recognizing that divine protection was at work. Psalm 91:11-12 reassures us, "For He will command His angels concerning you to guard you in all your ways. They will lift you up in their hands so that you will not strike your foot against a stone." God's angels are always on duty, protecting us wherever we go. Whether we are traveling to work, heading home, or running errands, these angels are watching over us. Even when we feel insignificant to the world, we matter deeply to God. In His eyes, we are valuable enough to warrant angelic protection. The thought that angels are constantly present, guarding us in our daily lives, is both humbling and comforting. Much like the president relies on the Secret Service for security, God has assigned His own heavenly security detail to guard His people. These divine protectors are not only powerful, but also deeply committed to their mission. In times of special need, God even dispatches angels on unique assignments. For example, angels were sent to rescue Lot from the destruction of Sodom and Gomorrah. This story of Lot is a testament to the enduring power of faith and divine intervention, offering a glimpse into the profound care God has for His people. The narrative begins in the city of Sodom, a place notorious for its wickedness and immorality. Despite the impending judgment, God's mercy was extended to Lot and his family through angelic intervention. These angels arrived on a rescue mission, guiding Lot and his household out of the doomed city before it was destroyed. This story not only highlights God's judgment, but also emphasizes His compassion and protection for those who trust in Him. The presence of angels in such a narrative reveals that God's care extends even to the most perilous situations. Just as Lot and his family were delivered from destruction, we can rest assured that God is actively involved in our lives, working through both visible and invisible means. His angels are an extension of his love, constantly guarding, guiding, and protecting us. No matter how chaotic or challenging life becomes, we can trust that God is always at work, surrounding us with his care, just as he did for Lot. One evening, two angels arrived in Sodom and found Lot seated at the city gate. Lot greeted them warmly with deep respect and hospitality, unaware of the profound significance of their visit. These heavenly messengers were sent on a divine mission to lead Lot and his family out of the city before its destruction. The account in Genesis 19 highlights both the urgency and the mercy behind this rescue, showing how God's compassion extends even in moments of judgment. This story encourages us to reflect on the unseen dangers we may be protected from without realizing it, much like the guidance provided to Lot by the angels. Though we may not witness angels ascending and descending a ladder from heaven as Jacob did, the message remains the same. We are constantly under divine watch. Jesus reinforces this truth in Matthew 18:10, reminding us not to disregard the least among us because their angels are always in the presence of God. This underscores the concept of individual protection, suggesting that each of us has divine guardians, unseen but ever present, guiding us through life's trials and guarding us against harm. Many times we navigate challenges and dangers unaware of the full extent of God's protection. Isaiah 43:2 offers reassurance. Even when we pass through deep waters or fire, we will not be overwhelmed or consumed. God's presence surrounds us, protecting and guiding us through life's most difficult moments. Similarly, Romans 8:28 reminds us that in every circumstance, God is working for the good of those who love him. This truth provides comfort, particularly in moments when we feel isolated or overwhelmed by life's burdens. If you find yourself facing challenges or uncertainty, remember that you are never alone. God's presence is always with you, providing strength and protection. He invites us to seek refuge in him, to cast our burdens upon him, and to rest in his unfailing care, as 1 Peter 5:7 teaches. Take time to draw closer to God. Find a quiet place to talk with him, sharing your fears, worries, and hopes. God is always ready to listen, offering comfort and strength to those who seek him. In his presence, we find the peace and reassurance that no matter what we face, we are never abandoned. God's love is infinite, his protection constant, and his presence unshakable.